Just by the way, before we begin this week's topic, I should mention to you, I was a little bit busy, didn't have quite that much time to do research like you would ask, so I only managed to go out twice to commit murders.
Hassan.
Uh-huh.
Hassan. I gotta say, I'm appalled at your lack of dedication for this show. Appalled.
Now, I do just want to say, I only went out twice, but it was 3 murders because at one point the roommate came home. Honestly, it was my bad. I should have checked that they only had a half day at work, and then had to get rid of any witnesses. But yeah, I only found the time to go out twice for murders.
Only twice. I mean, okay. Look. Okay, that's twice. That's 2 outings.
Yes.
Did you at least do more murders than 1 per outing?
No.
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 No. Well, you didn't even do that. What is wrong with you?
I was busy. I'm sorry.
Jeez, man. Jeez.
I assume your topic, you did enough murders to carry us through, right?
I mean, I thought I did.
Okay, great. Well, then my 2 should be enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna hope so. I'm gonna really, really hope so. Because I mean, if you only did 1 murder, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was 2 separate instances, 3 people.
Okay, and okay, that's good, I guess. But I mean, could you have gotten more? I think you could have gotten more, really.
I have a Chevrolet Spark. It's a pretty small trunk. It is very difficult to have much in the back.
Right, I can see that. I mean, it's a pretty small thing. So
yeah, so I can't really go out and mass murder at once. I've really got to limit it.
What are we doing here? What is this clown show we have going on in this? This is not what we signed up for, Hassan. This is not what we signed up for.
Well, Tristan, this is the Everything is Fine, Nothing's Ruined podcast.
Yeah.
I'm your regular host, Hassan. Joining me, as always, regular host, Tristan.
Yeah, that's me, and I'm angry because I got the Nicaraguans breathing down my neck looking to have more murders done.
Get the Russians to fight them?
Get the Russians to fight. What is... okay. The Russians. Yeah. What are the Russians doing? Guess what the Russians are doing right now, Hassan? They're fighting a war against Ukraine.
Right.
They're losing horribly.
That.
Do you want
the Chinese to fight them?
Okay, now we're talking. The triads? Oh, yeah. Okay. The problem is, though, they're kind of hard to get a hold of, notoriously. I have to go find one of their secret police camps over here and, try and get them that way. I mean, the triads are all kind of owned by the Chinese government by now, I assume. So,
Can I ask? I don't know. Okay, well, I think I might know a way to help you.
Okay, do you?
There's a little way that you could study.
Yeah.
On how to resolve a situation like this, and it's a show called Barry.
Ooh, Barry.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great show.
Yeah, it's about Mary Berry.
Oh, okay.
You learn how to make cakes and stuff. You just bake the Nicaraguans a nice cake, and they'll forgive you. Okay,
yeah, hell yeah. Sounds good to me. Well, wait, hold on. Oh, do you mean HBO's Barry?
Oh, is that what we were supposed to?
Yeah.
I got my wires crossed here. Because I don't know a whole lot about that, so you'll have to tell me about it.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So Barry is this wonderful show, and we already discussed it back in December. a while ago. So, like, we have seasons 1, 2, and 3 under our belt already. So we at least have that. But recently, as like last month-ish, it just ended. And yeah, it goes places. It does some interesting stuff, I gotta say. I'm kind of a fan of where Barry takes itself.
Here's my question that I hate that I'm asking. How much did it actually end versus, well, it ended, but don't worry, it'll be back with spin-offs and prequels and...
Well, so, spoilers for the final season of Barry. He gets shot in the fucking head and dies.
That does not stop a prequel and or spin-offs.
Oh, we're not getting a prequel for this. No, there's no way. There's no fucking way.
Tristan,
yeah,
there's a writer strike happening right now.
Yeah, and
CEOs are about to get even more lazy in what gets made.
Yeah, I know, but like,
hey AI, write me more Barry.
Look, here's the thing.
Also, HBO rolls up into Warner Bros., which rolls up into David Zaslav. So
that's true. Well, we'll see.
Really good. Put your faith that guy's not going to go make more of that thing.
No, that's true. We'll see where this goes because, like, that could be the case. I hope not. I really hope not because I don't think that this is the kind of show you'd want to continue on in a prequel or a sequel, considering it's a show in which, like, to prequelize this, I guess you could prequelize it as like, oh, here's Barry doing more Hitman stuff before California, sure, because the only other place you can go with a prequel for Barry is maybe Fuchs, maybe the Chechens doing the whole Hank thing, or Barry's war experience in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he kills civilians, so I don't think we want to glorify that so much.
Have you met the U.S. government?
I haven't met them, but I heard of them. They seem lovely.
They're okay with glorifying that, but we're here to talk about Barry. So tell us about Season 4, the final.
Okay, well. So this final season, essentially, just to get out of the way this season looks is fantastic. I don't want to discuss that so much. As far as cinematography goes, it is one of the most beautifully shot shows I've ever seen in my life. Season 4 alone is. It has these beautiful, like, just wide shots of wonderful open scenery and fields and, like, just these huge tracking shots. And when you, like, squish in to get the action, they really do a good job of kind of, like, getting everything, like, done on film and making it look good. This last season looks real fucking good. So, props to them on that one. Yeah, Hassan.
I don't hear you talking about, like, CGI and superheroes, so I'm confused how it can be a good show.
Oh, well, okay, there's no CGI, as far as I know, anyway. There's probably a little bit of CGI or something somewhere. Probably some sort of, like, doing some squibs with, like, VFX or whatever. As far as superheroes goes, we'll get there.
Anyways, that's the end of the episode.
Because I got a bit of a take on this show that I don't think anybody picked up on, and I'm super fascinated by that.
Not liking where this is going, but go on.
So this season's different than the other ones. This girl's different from the other ones. So it starts off with
hashtag not like the other girls.
Not like the other girls. So this starts off with Barry and Fuchs both in prison. They both end up in the same prison after the last season. Yeah.
Was not expecting it to start that way. Go on.
Season 3 ends with a sting on Barry, and then Fuchs gets arrested because he's in conjunction with the Chechen mob, and they thought he was Barry. So, yeah. That's a good thing. So Barry's prison take is very solemn. Very much, he's confused as to why he's there. Barry's whole shtick at this point is like, because he's been trying so hard to be a good person, he's at a point where he just can't be. He just can't be a good person. But he just really, really wants to be, though. Like, my God, does Barry want to be a good person? And he doesn't think he belongs in prison because he's like, no, I'm a good person. I'm a great person. Because, I did some bad things, but I'm moving on. I'm trying to atone for my sins. Yeah, I'm a great person.
Sure, Barry.
Sure, Barry.
Sure.
Yeah. That's kind of the reaction that everybody, I think, has. The thing. He's also trying to atone for his sins because he realizes at one point when he's in prison and he kind of accepts, like, okay, I'm in prison. I'm not getting out of here. I'm fucked. Now it's time for me to really hardcore atone for my sins. So in specific, this image I have on the screen right now, this one is kind of in reference to the fact that he gets his whole face just beat the fuck in because while he's in prison, so there's one guard who's like a really nice guy essentially, and he's kind of like buddy with the prisoners because he's like, oh, this is just my job. You guys didn't do anything too bad. Or if you did, like, you're still people, He's trying to treat them as actual people instead of, how the...
Sure, it's good. I just maybe should be a little more aware that this is a prison full of murderers.
Well, he is. Because once Barry says, I'm a cop killer, right? He's like, well, fuck this guy. And he, like, whips out the baton and kicks the shit out of Barry. Just beats the fucking crap out of him.
High five Barry for that.
Well, I mean, like, he's also a cop, so... Like, Barry's not, but the guard
prison
is.
Guard.
Yeah. Well, he's a prison guard. He's not actually a cop. He's a corrections officer. There's a fine line that you walk. At one point, he could have been a cop, so, it doesn't mean he's...
This is a different philosophical discussion. Are prison guards better than cops, or are they as bad as cops? I don't know. I mean, I know the prison system is bad. Yeah. I just don't know how much of that is the fault of the prison guards.
I don't know. That's a great question, actually. Like, are they better than cops? Because, I mean, like, technically speaking, some of them are ex-cops, or vice versa. They're looking to go and become cops, but they do a stint as a prison guard to kind of get the experience. Either way, it's maybe the same thing.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I had a cousin who was a security guard, so yeah. So Barry, gets his face caved in by this guy. Meanwhile, Fuchs, who is trying to also atone for his sins, realizes he has the juiciest dirt possible on one of their inmates that he's in with, Barry Berkman. And he's like, "Hey FBI, I want to sell out. I want a deal. I want to talk all about Barry Berkman. I know all about his shit. Get me in with him. I can get a one-on-one with him, and we'll take him down. You'll get all the information you need to take down this cop killer, which I, Fuchs, am not."
No, you were definitely still involved in all of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
It's just Fuchs, the dumbest, I'll rat out on him by explaining how I was responsible for all these things, too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you idiot.
Fuchs was definitely responsible for covering up the whole, murder of the police officer that Barry did, of Gene Cousineau's and his girlfriend. So, he helped that sort of, and also threatened Gene, but then also tried to turn in Barry at the same time. Fuchs is a weird person. Weird person. Anyway, he gets he realizes that while in prison, he's got a chance to kind of high school himself. When you're in an anime, when the transfer student gets to a new high school, and they're like, "I'm gonna reinvent myself this year. This year, I'm gonna be the coolest guy possible." That's what Fuchs is thinking, and it goes about as well for Fuchs as it does in the anime version, where he's like, "You know what, guys? I'm the fucking Raven. You gotta respect the fucking Raven because I'm here to run this place. Fuck you all." And then they beat his ass.
All right.
Because and they laugh at him. And as you would.
Yeah.
So that's the front of the prison section. We'll get back to it in a second if something happens. But Jin Kusuno, he kind of like tries to do a tell-all because after he went in with Barry's, like with the guy that helped capture Barry, I can't remember his name now, the father of his girlfriend, Jim. Yeah, Jim. So once he tries to do that, he realizes he's got a chance to sell this story for a lot of money to journalists who really want a good, juicy story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I forget the name of it, but there is a law that's supposed to prevent people from profiting off of,
Yep.
Oh, God. I forget the word. It's basically like you're not allowed to profit off of, like, books, movie, music, etc.
Yeah.
Based off your crimes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he didn't. Well, Jin Kusuno didn't commit any crimes. He's selling Barry's story to the press.
All right, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So he basically, even though like Barry killed his girlfriend Janet Moss, and him and Jim Moss took down Barry and got him arrested by the FBI and all this stuff, and during a sting, even though this is all happened, he's still like, but I can make this work. I can be somebody, you know? So I might as well sell my story. Here we go. And basically just get this all off my back. Fantastic. So this kind of winds up badly for Gene, because Jim Moss, who is this notorious hard-ass, somewhat of a torturer artist, he's known for taking you into his garage and like tying you to a chair and then verbally torturing you, and then also probably physically torturing you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Verbal torture, that sounds fine. I can endure that.
He's a pretty intense guy. Yeah, he's known for these garage talks. Anyway, yeah. So that's happening, and while Gene's kind of doing that shit, Sally Reed, Barry's ex-girlfriend, who knows now that he's a murderer, she took off back to, I want to say Oklahoma. I can't remember where it's at.
Podunkville, you know.
Yeah, Janus. Or sorry, Joplin, wherever it is, and yeah. That place. So she goes there, back home with her parents, and realizes she hates it there, and she goes back to California eventually to run Gene's school in his absence, and everybody hates her, except for one person.
Shocking.
And she's like, I can get you a role. I'm going to get you a role. That's my main thing. If I do anything, I'm going to get you, this bad actress, a role, finally. Or at least, like, coach you through your role kind of thing. And she's like, okay, well, I got a role, so coach me through, get me through this, because they need me to act really well in this scene. And I suck, so yay. Which is what Sally does, so she coaches her through. Sally then also tries to swipe the role from her, because Sally is...
Sally.
Sally just really wants to be in the fucking limelight, man. No matter what, she wants to be the one. The one to be the most famous person possible. Yeah. It's wild. So, you know, you got Barry in prison. You got Sally basically doing her thing. This is this picture I have right up now is later on in the series. So this one, Fuchs doing his thing in prison. And NoHo Hank is with Cristobal still. Hey, power couple.
Okay. Yeah.
After he saved Cristobal from the Bolivians. And, you know, they're living their life normally, easily, in California. But the money is kind of sort of running out, maybe sort of.
Surprised they wouldn't have left California, but, you know, okay.
Yeah, same. They love California through and through. This show also just loves California through and through. So here's the thing with what's happening here. So they're trying to go legit. Like, No Hank in the last season went John Rambo on the Bolivians, killed a bunch of people, saved Cristobal, and took off back to California.
Yep.
So, after he does that, basically he's got some choices to make, and he realizes, like, oh, well, I'm not sure where we want to take this. So we can't really be part of the mob anymore because we don't really have any guys to rely on to do mob stuff with. So what are we going to do? And the answer...
Break Barry out of prison? Break Barry out of prison? They're going to break Barry out of prison. Okay. Right.
Yes. Sort of. So that's initially the idea. But for the actual first idea they have is to go legit. Or at least semi-legit. So they find out that the construction companies, they use sand in their concrete. Not just any sand, though. Sand from Guatemala. Which is very fine and can actually be used for construction material because the sand elsewhere in North America is shit. It's garbage. But Guatemalan sand, for some reason, is so silty and powdery. And, like, ooh, you can just, like, you can put that into the concrete and, like, it works really well. Like, no cracks, nothing.
Okay, and how's crime come into this?
So, Cristobal and NoHo Hank both know a lot of guys in the shipping receiving sector in the smuggling rings. And so this is why this is semi-legit. So they both go like, okay, here's the thing. We got to contact our guys and see if they can go down to Guatemala and collect some of the sand for us in, like, large shipping containers. And that way we can bring it back up. We pay them a nice sum, and then we can basically undercut the middleman and sell the sand directly to the construction crews. And that's the plan. This
is a terrible plan and one of the most realistic smuggling dumb operations I've heard. I would 100% believe that this would be a real story you would somehow see in the news.
Yeah, me too. Well, it starts working for them, but first off, they need to get their shipping partners, which I believe are, I can't remember if they're Korean or Chinese. They're not. I think they're possibly Indonesian. I can't remember where they're from.
No idea.
No idea either. But they're like, okay, well, here's the thing. We have kind of a problem with the Nicaraguans. Now, here's the thing. We need them gone. We need them off our backs. And Cristobal and Hank are like, oh, we don't really do the mob crime thing anymore. We're not exactly in that business. Sorry.
We know a guy who knows how to take out a bunch of people.
We know a guy! And it's Barry! But then they realize, oh, Barry's in prison. Shit. Well, here's plan B. Plan B. Because we don't have anybody to break him out just yet. Plan B is we get the Nicaraguans and the Indonesians together. And we make them kiss. Slow kiss.
I don't think they want to kiss.
No, they don't, initially. But Cristobal and Noah Hank are experts in this specific key thing, which is they are both from different crime families that came together and are now in love. So they decide to bring the two gangs to the happiest place on earth, Dave and Buster's, and proceed to throw a conference for them in which they pitch the idea of their two crime families coming together and joining in unholy matrimony, I guess.
And the Dave and Buster's manager is okay with all of this?
Yeah.
Corporate is gonna have a talking to that particular location.
They paid the money for the rented, so you know. And they didn't do anything bad. And then eventually, like they throw like a whole PR stunt, the whole like a big old like TED Talk sort of thing, and yeah, they go for it. And now they're in bed together. Fucking A, awesome. And then NoHo Hank drops like, now we got guys? Guess what we can do, Cristobal? Guess what we can fucking do? Guess what we can do, Hassan?
Get back into crime.
Get Barry out of prison! Yeah!
Wait, why do we need him out of prison if the Indonesians and the Nicaraguans are pals now?
Because he loves Barry. Barry's his friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that checks out. Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he want Barry to be, with him and doing crimes together? Because he likes Barry and Barry likes him. Well, Barry... I don't know if Barry likes anybody, to be honest. But he likes Barry. And then they're like, you know what? This is going to work. But Chris Ball's like, we all know if we can get Barry out of prison. It's a prison break. Maybe we don't go with that one so much. And was like, well, okay, well, maybe not. And then we go back to Barry, and we learn that Barry, after getting his face beat in, has had a turn of character, and also wants to talk to the FBI for protection. All about the Chechens. He wants to sell the Chechen mob up the fucking river.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And this makes its way to NoHo Hank, who then goes, oh shit, we gotta kill Barry.
Look, that is a fair reaction out of NoHo Hank.
Yeah, I'd say so too. So, this is like 3 episodes in or so. Sally Reed has gotten that person the job, tries to swipe it, like I said. That's a whole shtick with her. And then eventually, she kind of just fucks off a little bit. Not to be seen until episode 4.
About right for her.
Yeah. So, Barry's in prison.
Yep.
And he's trying to flip and, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's one point when the FBI brings him in to go and discuss things with the Chechens. They start talking, and Barry's like, hey, you have 2 guys with you that, haven't said a single word this entire time. And, the FBI guys turn around like, he's not with me. Is he with you? No, I don't think so. And then a fucking assassin out of the, in the rafters starts shooting out of it and kills everybody in the room except for Barry. Barry grabs one of the guns.
Is he a bad assassin, then?
Yeah, technically.
Okay.
Considering his target was Barry. And the 2 guys that were also on the guy in the duck's side also end up killed because the guy in the duck can't really see what he's doing. He can just see Barry, and Barry bolts right away and grabs one of the FBI guy's guns and then shoots the assassin dead. And he's like, "All right, cool," and then walks out of prison. Just in the chaos, just get the fuck out of there.
A bad prison, but go on.
Yeah, you don't say. And then Barry goes home to collect his stuff. And guess who's there but Sally Reed?
Why is she at his apartment?
Misses him. Just in love with Barry, I guess. Or, well, more so attracted to the fact that he is attracted to her, I think, is the case.
Yeah, Sally, he's done a lot of killing. You should move on, girl.
Yeah.
Also, kind of creepy and inappropriate that you would still have the key to his place and would use it.
They lived together for a while. And technically
but how long has he been in prison?
Like maybe a week, if that.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad then.
Yeah.
I was thinking a month, and this is awkward and weird. But no, that's fair then.
No. So they get back together and fuck off somewhere. Smash cut to Gene Cousineau, who hears that Barry Berkman escaped prison, takes off for his cabin in, he stays in the cabin where Barry did the murder of his girlfriend, Janet. And realizes that's a bad idea and starts freaking the fuck out. And his son's like, okay, it's cool, Dad. I'm going to get you some food from the cafe. I'll be right back. Don't worry. Barry's not going to show up. He doesn't know you're here exactly.
Barry's going to show up.
Well, Gene has a gun. And later on that night, somebody comes to the door and is trying to unlock the door. Gene fires twice into the door. Through the door, should say.
Killing his own son. Got it.
Yeah. Doesn't kill him, just wounds him near mortally. And then Gene fucks off without checking if that's his son or not, or who he shot. He just bolts. He doesn't know. He doesn't care.
Okay.
Yeah. So his son is left bleeding on the floor, like on the patio, in front of the door. His son lives. I'll point that out. His son lives, but still. So this is like the first part. This is the first 4 episodes of season 4.
Okay.
And throughout this entire thing, we get like these little snippets of Barry as a kid with his dad out in, doing farming, meeting Fuchs for the first time as a kid. They're on like this, like very clearly out in like some like plains land, like lowlands, where, you can see for like 10,000 miles basically, stuff like that, and like. These are very serene, surreal shots, just like weird looking compared to the context of shooting in California, which is, hilly, densely packed, even the entirety of the state, even though a lot of it is desert. It's a lot of mountains as well and hills. But like if you go into LA where this is being shot currently, yeah, it's a very densely packed place. So you get a lot of the buildings versus like the like plains lands. So in one of these scenes, though, they twist it on you because, like, at one point, they shoot all these scenes from, like, a long distance away. Like the characters are back here and the camera's here, So you can kind of see who's who. So, at a certain point, they twist it and they do a zoom in close up, boom, here are the characters, and you have Barry as an older man, and there's a kid with him. And it's his son.
Oh.
And you kind of think, the fuck's this? Okay, it must be like... Because he's had delusions in the previous seasons, too. Of him and Sally having this, like, quiet life as, like, an old couple. This kind of stuff. So, like, oh, okay, this is just one of his daydreams. Don't worry about it. And this is episode 5, and it just keeps going. It doesn't stop. And then you go, oh... So this entire time, Sally's having a hard time with like coming to grips with the fact that she killed a guy in season 3. That's the reason why she fled. She wants to turn herself in. So one thing I'm going to point out before we move on directly to the second half of season 4 is that Hank kills Cristobal, or at least gets Cristobal killed, because Cristobal wants to go legit.
So he just kills him?
Yeah, sort of. So the Chechens come in and start stepping on their business. And they go like, Hank, we know you want to be the like number one guy in California, in Los Angeles. So like, here's the plan. You get rid of these guys who you got with the Nicaraguans and the Indonesians, whoever it is. Get rid of them. We step in, and now the Chechen mob is running the whole fucking show. Perfect. And Hank's like, I don't want that. That's not a good idea. Maybe we don't want to. We're trying to go legit here. And they're like, okay, you do it or we kill you. And he's like, I'm in.
That's a fair reaction.
Yeah. Cristobal doesn't know this. Cristobal also wants to go totally legit. Does not want a single lick to do with crime families, crime nothing. Just wants to go legit, live his life simply with Hank. Like it's what they love to do. But, not going to happen. Because Cristobal, so once the sand business is all set up, Hank throws one of his fun little surprise parties inside the sand silo where they're keeping out of the sand. Right? And it's like, okay, here's our spoils, like here's all the sand. Guys,
inside a silo.
Yes, inside a silo. Toast to all of you, and like here, have some drinks. Here's like a little like craft table. Like, just enjoy yourselves. Cristobal, come with me for a second here. I gotta show you something, and we're gonna bring in another surprise for these guys. Cristobal's like, he starts following Hank, and then he stays behind. And then because one of the guys like, oh, Cristobal, come and take a selfie with us. And then Hank pulls a lever and starts draining the sand.
Uh-huh.
And buries everybody, suffocating them to death. except Cristobal.
Oh, okay,
who he runs in and saves. Yeah, saves him, pulls him out of the sand. And Hank then explains everything to Cristobal, like, hey, Chechen stepped in, all this stuff. I had no choice. And Cristobal's like, I just want to live a normal life. I thought this was going to be a legit sand business, all this stuff. And he's like, it still is, but we can't.
Definitely not. It really isn't.
It really isn't, no. All this stuff. So, at that point, Cristobal's like, you know what, Hank? I'm done here. We're done. I'm breaking up with you. I don't want this anymore. I love you, but I can't do this. And Hank's like, you don't want to do that. You do not want to, Cristobal. You don't want to do that. Do not go to the door. Come here. Have a drink. Talk to me longer. We'll figure this out. He's like, no, I'm fucking gone. So he walks out. Hank's like, don't do it, man. Do not go to your car. Come back here and be with me. Don't do it. And so, like, and Cristobal's like, no, I'm done. We're out. And Hank closes the door. And then you hear, blam, blam, blam. And the Chechens murder Cristobal in cold blood.
Okay, things are just going swimmingly for everybody across the board.
Yeah, so Hank just got the love of his life killed.
We've all been there.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, harken back to those 8 years later, with Barry and his son in, I think, Kansas. I'm going to say Kansas. With Barry, Sally, and Kansas. And they're both under assumed names, and their son doesn't know what their real names are. But I'm just going to say this one thing. And that is, essentially Barry is, well, Barry is going by a very specific name that I want to point out. And I think it's fascinating that they chose this and did this with him. Because Barry...
Texas Walker Ranger.
No. Remember how I said that Barry has like kind of a hero complex? He doesn't accept the blame for any of this stuff.
Oh my god, is he going by Clark Kent?
Yes, he fucking is.
Oh my god.
Not Clark Kent, Clark.
Okay, alright.
He wears exclusively blue and red, and is wearing a pair of fake glasses. And of all the discourse I've seen on Barry Season 4, nobody picked up on this, as far as I can tell.
That's really dumb and funny.
It's insane. Also, his son's name is John, which is the name of Clark Kent's son.
Was it also his dad's name? Am I crazy?
Yeah, and his dad's name, yes.
Yeah, Jonathan Kent, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Kent. Exactly. But either way, he took this. He gave his son his dad's name because Jonathan Kent died, and one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't remember what Sally goes by. I honestly should have just rewatched the episode to check. I didn't have time.
Lois.
It's not Lois though. It's not.
Boo.
Yeah,
missed opportunity there.
They didn't go that far, which is like, I think for the better, because I don't think Sally would do that, because I think she would understand. Oh, you're going by Clark, and I'm going by Lois. Holy fuck, no, we shouldn't do that.
You might be giving Sally too much credit and awareness.
No, she does have a lot of awareness, though. She actually does have a fair bit of it. Like, she it's not that she's not aware of this stuff, she just doesn't have any other choice. Or so she thinks she doesn't.
Sure.
Whereas she actually does have a lot more choice than she gives herself credit for. So, she could have gotten out of this.
How'd things go sideways from here?
Well, essentially what happens here is that Gene Cousineau comes back from his trip to Afghanistan where he gets enlightened.
Modern day Afghanistan?
Or India or Iran. I think it's Iran, actually, but even still, yeah.
Modern day Iran, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not saying there's not wonderful things in those places. It's just...
weird spot for a...
Yeah, they're not typically places you would go for enlightenment.
Especially if you're a white American male.
Yeah.
Anyway, he comes back from there. And, you know, the other kicker is that Fuchs gets let out of prison as well.
Okay.
And at the same time, Hank is kind of doing a bit of a search for Barry, but he can't find him.
Don't know why.
He doesn't know that Barry fucked off to Kansas. I used to think it's Kansas. I, for the life of me, hope it's Kansas because... Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. As they are kind of like getting the gang kind of back together into the show, because like episode 5 is mostly about Barry and his son and how weird they all are, and then Gene shows up at the end, and Gene Cousineau showing back up and being like, "Hey, I'm Gene Cousineau. I'm back, and I want to make a movie about Barry, but I only want to speak to like people who really want to like do this." And that becomes big news because like the Barry Berkowitz case is a big deal. Because there's still a manhunt out for him.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So, this gets, they still have internet in Kansas and shit. And Barry learns this. He's like, "Oh shit, Gene's back." And he's like, "Sally, I gotta go kill Gene."
No, Barry, you idiot.
Yeah, I know. And this is just after he tells his son all about his like war like experience. He twists it, and so he's not a sniper. He's a medic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He didn't kill those civilians. He helped his buddy. He was shot in the chest, and he put a Band-Aid on him. And then he said, "No, not on my watch." And then shot a couple guys who deserved it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And he doesn't have any job or anything. There's also that. And
8 years?
Yeah, for 8 years. And Sally's the one with the job. She's waiting tables in a nearby town. And she's scary, man. She scares me. Like Sally, more than anybody in this show, scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, she might be the most psychotic person in this show.
Maybe. There's a point where like one of these cooks at the restaurant she works at, Bevel, he's hitting on her, and he comes on motorcycle. Comes on
a motorcycle.
Comes on a motorcycle. It's raunchy as fuck. No, he comes on a little too strong one night during a staff party, and he starts trying to have sex with Sally, and she, denies him. But like she's like, "You know what? No, let's go in the bathroom. I'll lock the door. Well, And then she fucking tortures his ass. Like, it's again, she's scary, man. I don't.
So like nipple twisters. I got you.
No, think that, but below. Like, go lower.
Belly button.
Yeah, right in the belly button, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy lady.
Yeah, crazy lady. Anyway, yeah, she's scary, but also still dealing with the fact that she murdered somebody 8 years ago. So there's that. So Barry fucks off to California, all this stuff, and he's trying to find Gene so he can kill him. He goes to a Walmart and buys guns, because, as you can do in the United States.
Boy, for a second I was like, oh man, that's ridiculous. Oh no, wait, right. You totally can.
You can. Yeah, it's kind of funny being Canadian going like, the fuck is he in Walmart buying? Oh, it's the US, right, of course. Yeah, you could just buy a gun there. Like the same day. There's no waiting period or anything.
California must have stricter gun laws. Who knows? Anyways, go on.
I don't know if it does or not, but even still, it doesn't matter that much. So he
Yeah.
Gets his gun, and he goes to meet up with Gene Cousineau, goes to his home, that kind of stuff. Jim Moss gets a hold of him and is holding him hostage for torture reasons, because Jim Moss is crazy as hell.
Okay. Can't blame him.
No, I can't blame him. Yeah, so that's all happening. And at the same time, Fuchs is at his prison, and he is fully committed to the Raven persona. Fully. Like, is now actually a hardened mob boss.
In my head, though, the Raven persona is basically just the Crow.
Well, it's not, but he's got, I wish it was.
No, in my head, he's got, like, long emo hair, and he wears, like, black hoodies kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like,
whatever you called the long sleeves that had, like, the alternating color bands, like, he wears one of those, like but has, like, a black t-shirt over it.
Like the Tim Burton sleeves?
Yeah, exactly. Like and he's like, I'm the Raven.
Not quite.
Like, okay, dude. Sure, you're tough.
Yeah. It's more so that like so he's got a bunch of tattoos. He's wearing just like an undershirt, and he's got like these tattoos sticking out, and he also has like his nails painted black, and he's got this fucked up look in his eye. Like
There's no way Fuchs didn't cry getting tattoos too.
It depends when he got them. I think he probably got them later on. These are prison tattoos. These aren't like...
Yeah, it's Fuchs. He still cried.
They melted a comb into his skin, so like that's a prison tattoo.
Oh, God.
You know that, right? That's how you do it.
I know it's made up of weird stuff, but...
There's no ink in prison. There's no needles. Well, there's a needle, but you melt the comb and you dip the needle in comb, and you...
For some reason, the Raven needs to eliminate Barry, I'm guessing.
It's because Barry talked and got Fuchs a longer prison sentence. And also, Barry was...
Fuchs, you deserve it.
He does. But Barry was also Fuchs's way out, because he was planning on getting the fuck out by selling Barry out up the river. But the other thing happened. Is the opposite. So once the FBI lost Barry, Fuchs lost his like get out of jail free card, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He had 8 years of prison. Hard prison time. As a member of the Chechen Mafia, known as the Raven. Who was a persona set up in earlier seasons, I should say. Which, like, the Chechens referred to as a guy named the Raven. They called in this guy in Season 1. He actually existed in Season 1. And, like, the Raven was quickly dispatched by Barry because he sucked. You know?
Checks out.
Yeah. And like, eventually, like, oh, they called him this Raven guy. Who's this? If we find the Raven guy... This is, like, 4 seasons of this. We'll get the Chechens. Yeah. Anyway. Fuchs gets out. Hank is now like understanding like, okay, Fuchs is out, and Fuchs wants to get back into the mafia business with Hank, who is also in the mafia business with the Chechens, because Chechens. So the entire time, Fuchs has been doing Chechen mafia jobs inside prisons. So like he's been killing people, he's been like extorting people, he's been like dealing drugs, all this stuff. Like he's like a hardened fucking criminal now. Like when I'm saying like he's like a fucking mob boss, he's a mob boss. Like he did it. Right. He got there in 8 years and went hard. Again, that twitchy look in his eye is not because he's going to cry. And maybe it is. Probably is actually, but it's that the twitchy look in his eye is mostly because like he has done and seen some shit. And yeah, he's crazy. So yeah, this all kind of culminates to at the very end where some shit happens. Gin's trying to still like sell this movie. Sally shows up with a kid in California after she has a mental breakdown and hallucinates people breaking into their home and trying to kill her and John and tearing the place apart. Like she hallucinates the house being tipped over and tipped back.
And you said there was no CGI.
Well, this is all done practically, so.
Yeah, practical CGI. That's what they call it.
Yeah. Yeah, we call it that now.
So it's everybody is culminating towards the storm that is Barry.
Yeah, exactly. So Barry gets wind of all this, learns that, Jean's back, Fuchs is out, Hank's around, and holy shit, he finds out that they have Sally. Like they call his phone. Like Hank calls his phone. It's like, I'm going to kill you, Barry, but first realize I have your son and your wife, and he gets them on the phone, and they start like being like, "Help, Dad, save us," kind of thing.
Yeah.
At first, though, Sally didn't want to talk at all. She's like, "John, don't say a fucking word." And John's like, "Help me, Dad," because John has bought into the fact that his dad is Superman. Bought into it hard.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Okay. Of
course
that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, his dad.
Why would his dad lie?
It's not Superman. His dad's more like
no.
Lobo.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. It's all fun and games. So here's what happens. It's the most wonderfully anticlimactic scene ever. Because, and it still includes a gunfight. So Barry gets wind of this, learns where everybody's at, drops the Gene Cousineau murder plot, goes back to the Walmart, and gets fucking amped up. Gets a lot more guns. Like strapped across his back, ready to go. Shotguns, rifles, a few pistols. He's ready to just go to war. He gets in his Prius, and he drives to where Hank has his illegitimate business. And he pulls up. And at this point, I should point out, Barry has found God. Barry has found the J-Man in a big way. Yeah, in a big, big way. He's looking for that redemption. And he prays to God that he will be killed in this battle so he can go to heaven saving his son.
I mean, you should probably be praying to, I don't know, Ares for that?
Well,
Thor?
Again, this is American Christiania. Christianity in America is very skewed, let's say. Anyway, so he gets into this Prius and starts walking towards the location. Meanwhile, about 5 minutes before he got there, maybe less than 5 minutes, probably like maybe a minute before he got there, Fuchs has shown up with his guys, and Hank is there with his guys. And they're all kind of like facing off. And because Hank has been trying to kill Fuchs for like the past 3 episodes, because Fuchs took a home of his and made Hank look weak to the rest of the Chechens.
Yeah,
so
no, you can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, so Hank tried to kill Fuchs with a stationary missile launcher that he fucked up real bad.
Why did they have a stationary missile launcher?
So it's like a telescope, right? It's like a mortar, but just fires a missile.
Yeah, but why'd they even have it?
Yeah, I mean, for reasons like this. He's like, because one of his guys is like, you know what, Hank? Fuck that place. Like, yeah, let him have the home, but fuck the home, And Hank's like, oh shit, we blow up the home? Yeah, let's do it, man. So they get a telescoping missile launcher. They put it on a stand. They drop the round in, fired, and missed the house. It's a big house, really big house.
Look, I mean, if it's the first time you're ever firing it, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like it just goes off screen. It's like, oh, and it's like, okay, round 2, and he's like, no, we only have 1. It's like it's also a missile maybe this big, with the payload wouldn't be enough to really even destroy the house. Maybe a wall. So, Yeah. The comedy's still there, is what I'm trying to say. There's good comedy in this season. Yeah, so, all this stuff happens. They try and kill each other. At the very, very end, they culminate to, this one scene. And Fuchs is like, okay, you know what, Hank? I will join you and help you kill Barry. If you admit you killed Cristobal, I know you did. I know that you are a fucking coward, and you killed the only man you loved. And I'm here to tell you right now that I know this because I admitted back in prison I'm a heartless piece of shit. I suck. I deserve to be in prison. and I'm only here because I got lucky. Like, Fuchs has this big, like, this massive turn, and he just, like, lays it all out of the line of, like, here's my life, I understand what I am now, and I don't deserve anything good in my life ever.
Okay, it's good of him. Bit weird that that's his one condition, but otherwise,
positive
question mark.
It's because Hank has this big statue of Cristobal in his in the foyer of his building. Of like, oh, my business partner who died mysteriously. Oh no! But everybody's heard of the NoHo Hank hourglass. You know?
The NoHo Hank hourglass?
Sand timer.
Ah, gotcha. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's there. Barry's on his way.
So if it fucking goes bad, because like Hank just basically lays into Fuchs, who's had enough, and just shoots Hank dead, like right in the heart. And then, like,
he's the Raven, so his heart, it's under the floorboard or something. Don't worry.
No, he shoots Hank in the heart.
Yeah, he shot him where he thought his heart was. It's actually under the floorboard. That's
you mean the
fine.
You mean the telltale heart?
Yeah.
Ooh, the beating of that hideous heart. Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so Hank is dying, bleeding out from the heart. Very fitting, bleeding heart. Hank's like. You know, he's yeah. Him bleeding from the heart is very, very poetic. He is himself a kind of a bleeding heart guy. He loves people. He has a lot of like love.
He's done a lot of murder.
Done a lot of murder, unfortunately, but he tries to do it out of a sense of loyalty and love and fun. Like he doesn't want to, but he has had to. That at least that's his excuse.
Okay, sure, yeah, that's his excuse.
Meanwhile, this is the most brilliant part of this scene, though. So Fuchs shoots him in the heart, and it's like he's got a Desert Eagle, and just like he ganks him, and like it takes, like I counted, like when I first watched the episode and went back and recounted, it's like 12 seconds before the guys all realize, oh shit, our boss just got killed. Oh fuck! And then everybody's just like they're stunned that it happened, and then they start shooting at each other.
Oh, I thought they were just gonna join Fuchs.
No, they start gunning each other down. Okay. So Fuchs ducks out of the way. Sally and the kid duck out of the way as well. Sally goes somewhere else, but the kid like runs off and Fuchs saves John. Like Fuchs covers him. Like saves the kid. And the gunfight ensues, and like. Everybody dies. It's gory as shit. Like this is like probably the most gory scene they've done for Barry in a long time, because there's like body parts strewn everywhere. There's one dude with his guts just bleh on the floor, and just it's gnarly. And Fuchs realizes this and is like, oh shit. Well, he picks up John, and like takes John out of the scene. He's like, you can't see this kid. This is not you. This is not good for you. Gets him out of there, and gets him. Like starts walking him out of the building. He kind of just forgets about Sally entirely. He doesn't give a shit about Sally anyway. He has no, whatever. Who cares about Sally? Or at least he doesn't anyway. And then he sees Barry walking up to the building, decked out like the fucking Punisher, ready to go.
Okay.
And then he's like, "Hey Barry, here's your kid. Good on ya. Love you, bud. I'm out of here." And Barry just lets him go.
Oh, okay.
Because he's more concerned with the fact that his son,
Great. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. Why don't you tell people where to find us?
Not quite. There's a little more. So this entire time, Gene Cousineau has gotten more paranoid and more crazy. And also angrier and angrier and angrier. And weirder. And people know that he tried to sell the rights to the Barry Berkowitz story. The Barry Berkman story. I knew I was going to do that. Anyway, the Barry Berkman story. And they get wind of it. So Jim Moss hires a agent who is an actor who plays himself as an agent to get Gene's story told, and takes him to a place so that Jim Moss can catch his ass with his lawyers and a detective trying to sell the story. So now they suspect that Gene Cousineau actually murdered Jim's daughter and pinned it all on Barry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or maybe possibly hired Barry to kill her. Either way. So, I should point out they suspected this because at one point there was a Chechen mobster who visited the school where Gene teaches, the theater where Gene teaches his classes, looking for Barry, and for this other Ryan guy from season 1. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So at this point now, like, it's Sally, Barry, and John. They're kind of like back together and like, okay, what are we gonna do? And Barry's like, what do you mean? We're just gonna go back to Kansas and live our lives still. We're fine. And Sally's like, no, we can't, because of all the horrible things our son saw, and now he knows our real names and all this shit. Like, what do you
murder the son?
Yeah. Like, what are we gonna do? Barry's like, we'll go back to Kansas. We'll figure it out in the morning. So he gets up, and Sally and John have fucked off to somewhere. It's not really told where, but I'm assuming Kansas to get their stuff, and then took off probably back to Joplin. And Barry's like, well, okay. One thing I got to do still. And that's when he realizes, like, if he's been looking for redemption this entire series. He's trying to find a way that he can kind of like, just be a normal person. And he's been trying to find that redemption. He's been trying to find a way to live his life normally and just be seen as a good person. And so he realizes there's one way I can do this. And that is go to Gene and give him access to the story and then also just like forgive him and tell him I love him and not kill him and then leave.
Sure, Barry. That's what you think.
Sure, Barry. It's a better plan than killing the guy. It's something. Yeah, he's a flawed man. So he goes there to Gene's home. Gene's kind of like locked himself in his own room. And he's just like, I don't know, what am I going to do? All this stuff. And Barry shows up and is talking to Gene's friend. And Gene's like, oh shit, Barry's here. Oh fuck. And so he goes to his closet. And Barry sits down and he's like, okay, well, like, you're Barry Berkman? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm here just to see Mr. Cousineau. I gotta tell him I'm sorry. All this stuff, I fucked up and I'm just here to, like, lay it down for him and tell him I'm sorry, I miss him, and I wish him the best. And he's like, weird, okay. And so his friend starts leaving, and that's when Gene comes out of the back room, the bedroom, and Barry says, Mr. Cousineau, and then Gene shoots him in the chest. And then Barry says, oh, wow. And then gets shot in the head and dies.
Series end.
Not quite. There's one more thing. They have one more thing to say. One more thing. So, smash cut to some years later. I think it's like 10 years later. Or maybe another 8 years, I think. Something like that. Doesn't really matter too much. Sally is teaching high school acting and drama classes in, I think, Ohio. So, yeah.
Sure. Oh.
A snowy place. There's snow.
Okay.
And it's the night of a play. I think it's the Christmas pageant, and it's going pretty well. And essentially like it's Sally, and she's still very much just looking for that accommodation, that recognition of being a good actress and being a good director and good at the industry stuff of entertainment. just really hunting for it. And she's kind of figured it here as a drama teacher. And, you know, there's at one point where, like, you know, she lets her son go to a friend's place. And it's kind of like implied, like, oh, he's going to go do drugs with his other friend, or maybe he's in love with his friend. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. He's like, because John's friend is just like, okay, man, yeah, I got what you need. I got a copy. Let's go and do this thing. And they sit down, and the last 5-ish minutes of the show, they show you the movie based on Barry's life that they made.
Okay, all right.
And it is the trashiest, like, straight to Netflix kind of thing, where like they, you know, hired actors that were close enough. But they turned Gene into the villain of the whole show, and they made Barry into a Superman.
Okay, all right. No, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty fun.
And it ends with Barry protecting his, you know, wife and son on the stage where Gene teaches his acting class, and Gene shoots Barry dead in the movie.
Okay, all right, that's pretty good.
And the whole thing ends with John shedding a single manly tear.
That's so stupid. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
So, a lot of people are saying that Barry dropped the ball this season. I don't fucking think so. I think this is probably... It's not like the... Okay, let's be perfectly clear. Season 1, 2, and 3, I think are great. And season 4 is so vastly different that I think what they've achieved is the same thing that they were chasing for Lost, which is like, let's do something strange and out of the left field for the end of the show and get a good ending. And they kind of did the same thing here that Lost was trying to achieve, I think, but like with less supernatural shit, of course. But I think what they've done is essentially told a story where it is clear what they're trying to say, the whole violence begets violence kind of thing. It's a common story in Hollywood, especially. And, like, you know, angry man goes on rampage to save wife and kid is not a... It's not an uncommon tale, especially, like I said, Hollywood. But what they've kind of done is they've shown what they think it would be the story that they would tell about Barry, that Hollywood would tell about Barry. But here's the thing: the landscape of TV has changed, and I believe all this was shot before, like, this even came up on Netflix. But the Dahmer TV series, I think, is closer to what Barry would be, as far as like a Barry Berkman story based on like the character's real life situation.
Watch that, so I don't know.
I haven't watched it either, but I know enough about it to know that what they have done is really like sexualized in like not like a sexy way, but like a gratuitous way of making Dahmer a interesting character. And Barry Berkman is a serial killer. I think that the Barry show, sans the comedy, is what would have been made for Netflix had it come out.
Yeah, could see that.
Yeah, so because like this show does manage to make Barry somewhat sympathetic. However, as you peel back the layers of the onion, because all he wants is just a normal life, he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore. But the more you peel back the layers, the more you realize he A, can't have it, and B, shouldn't have it. So that's Barry.
That's the note you want to end on? Wow.
Yeah.
Depressing. No, that's totally fine. Well then, why don't you tell people where to find us?
Yeah. You want us depressing us on? Our Twitter accounts.
Ow. Okay.
Okay, well, okay.
No,
Twitter's
there then.
Twitter's what's depressing. We all know that. Come on.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, go to our Twitter account where it's not depressing there specifically. All sunshine and rainbows there, which is at EIFNAR. Go there and just tell us about how much you love Barry Season 4 or hated it. Mostly tell me about that. I don't think Hassan cares that much about it.
I do not.
There you go. Yeah, do those things. Go to our Spotify, iTunes. If you're not watching our YouTube channel, what are you doing, man? What are you fucking doing? If you find this video...
I watched Superman or something.
Oh, that's actually better use of your time. Yeah. Look, the new Superman cartoon is really good.
Oh, yeah. No, that one. I was thinking like the Zack Snyder Superman.
Oh, yeah, which is kind of what this version of Barry with Clark ends up being, so...
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, go and watch a Zack Snyder Superman and then watch Barry Season 4 and then listen to this podcast. And you will know I am correct. Okay, like, yeah, they clearly try to equate him as some sort of like fucked up Zack Snyder Superman.
Sepia tone and all.
A little bit here or there. It's not super sepia tony. I mean, like, they're in Kansas, so it's dusty. You know, it's going to get sepia toned by natural cause.
Okay, fair.
Anyway, let's go to our friends. It was djdane.com. This is the guy that does our music. djdane.com. Go there, listen to his great tunes, and just like, I don't know, vibe out in prison with him. Let him tattoo you with a comb.
No, he was in prison, but after all the things that he's probably been involved in thanks to this podcast, he should be.
Yeah, poor Andy. I feel bad for him.
He made a lot of crimes by this point.
As far as we're concerned, yeah. We keep saying he's done crimes, time traveled. I think at one point I insinuated that he may have ate somebody.
Prison's the only place I feel safe to have him now.
I honestly want to go to prison instead of him at this point.
Oh yeah, probably safer to be in there than outside.
Yeah. His music's great though, so go there and listen to his great music. And enjoy! Also, he's a great person. Doesn't deserve to be in prison. Unlike me, I need to go to prison.
You too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for our show. Tune in next time for another Abolition episode of Everything is Finally Is Ruined. See ya.
See ya.